day and welcome to another episode of Professionalism in Health. We are your hosts. I'm Kavita Singh.
Shannon Smith.
And I'm Darien Wong. Today we'll be looking at the Calgary-Cambridge to the medical interview.
As we all know, the medical interview is the most important aspect of the doctor-patient interaction.
The basic framework of the interview includes initiating session,
Gathering information,
the physical examination,
Explanation and planning.
and finally closing the session.
So now we're going to skip to a clip of an interview between an 18-year-old student and her female physician.
come in. Hi, Hi, I'm Dr. Singh. What's your name? Mish. Mish. Okay, have a seat, Mish. Hi, Mish. So, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay. Can you tell me what brought you here today?
I have itching
Or can you pinpoint that for me? Right there. Okay. All right. Can you tell me what you do, Mish?
I'm a student.
So you're a student. Okay. All right. So, is there anything else that's going on inside your arm?
I have to do DPA and MIP because of
Blood. Okay. All right. Okay. So here's what we're going to do, right? I'm going to have to ask you a few questions, right? Just to determine cause and what's happening, and also we're going to have to do a physical examination at one point. Now, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable. You have to understand. It might be a little uncomfortable at the time, but I want you to let me know when that happens, so we can try and make this, put you at ease a little bit and make this process a little bit easier for you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, great. Welcome back. So there we just saw the first step to the Calgary-Cambridge guide, which entailed initiating the session. Shannon, can you tell us more about what that is?
Okay, in initiating the session, first you have to introduce yourself and establish initial rapport. We saw this when the physician stood up, shook the patient's hand, and introduced herself as Dr. Singh. And also she gathered some information from the patient, what her name was and why she was there. Establishing the reason for the consultation, as we will hear about next, is very important in initiation of session.
So in initiating session, she also identified the reasons for the patient being there. She started us off by open-ended question.
What brought you here?
Thankfully, she didn't use the question, how are you feeling today?
Yes, that would have put the patient in even more distress.
She listened attentively as the patient described her problems, and she did not interrupt, and she directed the patient response very well.
She even prompted the patient, as you can see.
She confirmed the list and screens for any other problem, asking the patient if there anything else you need to talk about. And lastly, she negotiated the agenda, signposting, and telling the patient what to expect.
Yeah, she did the session pretty well, I think.
Something else that was notable was that the doctor positioned herself at a 90-degree angle to the patient,
Yes,
which allowed for
proxemics.
a perfect open communication.
No obstruction, the patient felt free and could have spoken to the doctor.
Well, yeah, she seems to have done this one really well. Let's see how she does in the next clip, which would entail gathering the information. Okay, Nish, so I just want to go over that again. So you have, what you said is a rash in your vaginal area?
It was itching.
Right, itching, right, okay. You also said you had painful urination, right, with blood?
Yeah, that's difficult to pee blood, yes.
Okay, that's okay, so came out of your area, okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just going to ask you from, start to finish, when did this itching come about, But just tell me everything, what you thought was, what you were doing at the time, what you thought might have caused it.
Well, this itching was started a week ago.
Yes.
I was with my boyfriend.
You with your boyfriend, okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to ask you something a little bit more personal, okay? Just to, just to get this information down. Would you say you're sexually active? No, it's fine. It's no problem. Okay, yes? Alright, that's perfect. This is just to pinpoint, the cause. This helps a lot, so it's very, get more specific. Okay, so yes. And, would you say your boyfriend is your only sexual partner? No, okay. No, that's fine. No. Can you just tell me how many sexual partners you have? 4. Okay, 4. Alright. And just to clarify, this is in addition to your boyfriend?
Yeah.
So 5 in total. Okay, 5 sexual partners. Right. And do you use protection? Sometimes, okay. Alright, so let's just backtrack now to the painful urination, right? Can you just give me the incubation period of when this happened?
Pardon me?
Oh, I'm sorry, when it started, so,
It was 3 days ago. I realized I to pee, and then see blood in.
Okay, so you say the start after the rash, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's just to summarize, say that, so you've had this rash for, this itching, for about a week, and then you developed the painful urination a couple of days later. You are sexually active with 5 partners, right? So, Is there anything you want to answer, anything you need clarification on? Okay, okay, so did you all see how encouraging she was to the patient initially, just using that open-ended question, can you tell me what happened, I kind of like that, but I feel like she should have had a little bit more open rather than closed-ended. She just kept throwing it at her.
How many of this, how many of that?
Yeah, exactly, right? But she did listen pretty well,
She allowed the patient time to respond, listening.
Yeah, exactly.
She read her verbal and non-verbal cues, offering her hand as a
comfort, little haptics.
Yeah, she did realize when the patient got uncomfortable about the sexual partner's question, so that was good.
She asked for clarification on the patient, but the patient told her it was 4 sexual partners, and she would figure out if actually like 2 is not 2, 5.
Yeah.
She did make a little error in the beginning, though, with the rash, that could have been a little bit severe.
But the patient corrected that.
What I enjoyed about it was that periodically she would summarize, just to ensure that her and the patient were on the same page. It's really important with the interview. And she did her best to use normal words,
not
but there
medical
was
jargon.
some jargon thrown in there.
Yeah, that was it, the patient had to
Otherwise, it was a very good session of gathering the information. Now we're going to take a look at the other clip, which shows
the explanation and planning. Okay, so what I can deduce from this information is that it's highly possible that you might be suffering from a STI.
STI? What was that about?
It's a sexually transmitted infection. I think you could have possibly gotten it from one of your partners.
No.
How could that have possible? I was very careful. Well, you said here that you didn't use any protection most of the time, so maybe during one of those times you could have actually been transmitted. Yeah, but that's okay. Say what we're going to do, right? I'm going to just take a sample of your blood. We're going to send it off for testing, just to confirm this diagnosis. We also going to need a sample of your urine to send off for that. And while that's happening, we're going to put you on a course of antibiotics. A week-long course. You're going to have to take it every day for a week. You can't skip a day. Just to, clear up with the itching, prevent any further symptoms from developing and whatnot, right? Is that something you'll be okay with?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So I know you're students. Is this something that you'll be able to fund by yourself?
Not more.
No, and would you mind bringing your parents at all to discuss? No, okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We will send you to a public clinic, right? Or refer you to a public clinic. Is that okay? That's
yes.
So we'll refer you to there, right? They might take a little bit longer with respect to testing and results, but you're still getting a specific period of time. In the meantime, can I suggest that you maybe talk to your partners and let them know what's happening so they themselves could get tested, So,
Okay.
So is there anything you need to clarify, anything you want to show? Is there anything further, is there anything further that you need to discuss? Nothing else, no other concerns? Okay, alright, great.
So we just seen the explanation and planning portion of the medical interview, which is actually really important because the patient needs to be on board with the treatment and they need to understand exactly what went wrong.
We saw some chunk and checks when she gave information, appropriate trans type of information.
And then she waited to see if the patient needed any clarification.
All that verbal there with eye contact, no feedback, and she checked and see if the patient understood. Though I didn't agree that for the STI should have given the patient more information about what she believed.
Yeah, because it could have been interpreted as life-threatening, right?
We didn't know. She just said STI was sexually transmitted. We needed more information. Was it gonorrhea, chlamydia, or what it was.
Exactly.
And actually, she respected the patient's opinions with respect to the private public and also with the boyfriend. She understood the patient's situation and
as well as not wanting to inform her parents as well. And even with regards to the private and public, that was, you could see, shared plan decision making on her part. They both agreed that public would be best, that referral to there rather than her as a student not being able to afford private would have put her under some stress. So now we'll just go in to see the final portion of our segment, which is closing the session. Okay, so just run through everything that you got from this session, just so I can get some feedback here.
Well, it's STI,
Yes.
I guess.
Most likely.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to take antibiotics for a week, and then I have this urine test.
Yes, it is.
And you refer me to the public hospital.
Right, yes, not too fair.
Okay, right, and then I have to tell my partners all this.
Well, it's not something you have to do, but it's something I would really recommend you doing, okay?
Okay,
Right.
that's it.
That's basically that's it. So that's all I need from this session today, right? So thank you for coming in, because this was actually very great thing you did. And I will leave your referral at my assistant there, right? So you can collect it there. I think that so you have any other concerns or anything, this is all okay, right?
Yeah.
This is fine? Okay. Well, if you have any other concerns, anything else develops, like that, you just call me, that's no problem. You get my number from up front. You can come back in and we will discuss it and anything in detail, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay, so finally here we see her closing the session. Darren, you want to lead us into that one?
Well, throughout the session, we saw the physician adequately provide structure. She gave the appropriate signposts, the transitional statements, and in a logical sequence. She also built the appropriate relationship with the patient. She was very empathetic and sensitive to the patient.
Yes, when she was like, I understand, and try to help you.
A level of rapport could have allowed for honest and appropriate answers. And
She's very encouraging.
lastly, how did she do forward planning?
The forward planning aspect of the closing session was done pretty well. She ensured that the patient understood what the treatment plan was, and she also set up what we call a safety net, so that in the event that one of the plans didn't work out, there was something else that could ensure the patient was treated accordingly. So that was
Which
really
we
good.
actually did see with private and public healthcare. Once
Yeah.
again.
Give the option, if it's private, if it's stay in public, and you did get the parents support.
Yeah.
And we also saw that she had like this final check and summary. So she actually had the patient here summarize what she thought was like, the outcome of it. That made her able to get a little feedback to make sure the patient knew what exactly.
See what she took up.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was that final, checking. You can contact my assistant pursuant to details, just to provide her with a little bit of,
Additional support.
Yes, exactly. So I think that was it. I hope this was very informative for those of you who were previously unaware of the Calgary-Cambridge Guide to Medical Interview. And tune in next week for another episode of Professionalism in Health.
Thank you.
Thank you.